Good evening, everybody. It is so nice to see such a crowd here. Good government depends on the people being involved, and we certainly appreciate each and every one of you coming out, especially our police force. It's good to see you, and thank you for all you do for the citizens of Horn Lake. At this time, I'd like to call this meeting to order and ask Alderman Bledsoe to lead us in our invocation.
Bow your head, please. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this city, and thank you for the people who work here, and thank you for the people who live here, that we may bless you every day that we are alive and help everybody realize that you are the beginning and the end. And thank you again for helping this city get growing more and more and more, and may everybody fill the whole city with love and take care of each other. And during all this cold weather, help everybody around you and check on the old folks and check on your animals. And dear Heavenly Father, we really appreciate your son dying on the cross for us, so we have an option of going to heaven or hell. In Jesus' name we pray.
Thank you, Alderman. Would you please rise to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Alderman David Young? Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Mr. Billy, how do you raise this chair? Will it come up? That's all it's gonna do. I think so. Pardon? No, this is fine. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Billy. Feel like I'm down in a hole. Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Here.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Here.
Alderman Geis.
Here.
Alderman Bostic.
Here.
Alderman Johnson.
Here.
Alderman Dupree.
Here.
Alderman Young.
Here.
We have a quorum. We're ready to do business. Do we have a motion for item number 1 on the agenda, please?
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I make a motion to approve the municipal docket.
We have a motion by Alderman Geis. Do we have a second? Second by Alderman Dupree. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. All right, number 2, the consent agenda. Do we have a motion? Alderman Bostic.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion by Alderman Bostic.
Items A through T.
Items A through what, sir?
T.
T? All right, sir. Do we have a second to the motion?
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second by Alderman Bledsoe. Motion by Alderman Bostic, second by Alderman Bledsoe. Is there any discussion?
Mayor.
Alderman Young.
Mr. Jim, what's the new hours of the animal shelter, please?
Maybe Miss Sonia could do that. I failed to bring my board packet in here, sorry.
Maybe Sheila.
Animal control office is open from 8 to 5, 7 days a week. And the shelter is open to the public from 12 to 5 for adoptions, reclaims, come visit, that sort of thing, and in the morning by appointment.
Okay, so it's 8 to 5, 7 days a week. People come to the shelter and look at the dogs.
They can come and show up at the shelter anytime between 12 and 5.
12 and 5.
Or by appointment in the morning.
Okay, that's 7 days a week.
7 days a week?
That's awesome, thank you. Another thing, Mayor, please.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jim, on letter P, request to approve change order to animal shelter contingency allowance. Do we actually have $93,134 in a contingency allowance?
Well, in the contract, the original contingency was 90,000. That credit back would take that original value up to 93, but between that and the two other change orders that we've had, letter T is a change order that affects it a little under 9,000. We only have about 51,000 left in the contingency fund.
So we spent about $40,000 roughly.
Yes, in different changes, you know, the original contract, it started at 90, but then we did have a change order that took it up to a total of 93, and there has been some change orders that affected it. That epoxy floor that we added in letter T took away 10,000 of that. So we have about 51,000 left in contingency for any other unforeseen things that do come up.
Right. That's what the contingency's for, something that might pop up.
Yes, so it doesn't, that's what they have been pushing those change orders into, so it won't affect the bottom line, the total bid for the whole project.
Right. And on number T, Ms. Jim, you maybe answer this one. We're changing the epoxy floor from one type to another?
Yeah, when we had the original bid, Sherwin-Williams came in with what they called a similar epoxy to the stone hard epoxy like you see in letter T. The stone hard epoxy is the one that Shelter Planners of America uses most often. And the original bid for the epoxy floor from Sherwin-Williams, they came back to Murphy and Sons and said, we're not making that product anymore. Here's our next one, which increased it $41,000 or something like that. So we went back to stone hard, which only increased it 10. And they say that this is a better floor than Sherwin-Williams is anyway.
All right. Thank you, sir. That's all I got, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. All right. Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. The next item on your agenda, ladies and gentlemen, is the claims docket. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Geis.
I make a motion to approve the claims docket, general fund, $673,562.89. The library fund, $2,267.97. The economic development fund, $73,659. The utility fund, $70,437.87, for a total docket of $819,927.73.
We have a motion by Alderman Geis. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Young. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Geis. Alderman
Aye.
Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Klein.
Aye. Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. All right, we're on number 4 right now. Special gifts.
Mayor? We're going to do the,
Oh, we want to do those now?
yeah, for the crowd list.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, at the suggestion of Alderman Young, the entire board voted to have 2 flags to honor our servicemen. One for those who are in service, another one a gold star for the ones who've passed away. At this time, I'm going to ask Alderman Young to explain the flags. He is a 12-year veteran of the United States Navy, and I believe I'll turn the program over to him at this time.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you all for being in attendance for this night. The service flag is an official banner authorized by the Department of Defense for display by families who have members serving in the armed forces during any period of war or hostilities to the United States, may be engaged in for the duration of such hostilities. The service flag, also known as the Blue Star flag, was designated and patented by World War II Army Captain Robert L. Quesanner of the 5th Ohio Infantry, who had 2 sons serving on the front line. The flag quickly became an unofficial symbol of the child in service, and President Wilson became part of this history in 1918 when he approved a suggestion made by the Women's Committee of the Council of National Defenses that mothers who had lost a child serving in the war wear a gold gilt star on the traditional black mourning armband. This led to the tradition of covering the blue star with a gold star on the service flag to indicate that the service member has died. During World War II, the practice of displaying the service flag became much more widespread. Most flags were handmade by mothers across the nation. One of the most famous flags was for the 5 Sullivan brothers, who all perished on the USS Juneau. Blue Star Mothers was founded as a veteran service organization and was part of the movement to provide care packages to military members serving overseas. In 1960, Congress chartered the Blue Star Mothers of America as a veteran service organization, and in 1966, the Department of Defense revised its specifications for that design and manufacture and display of the service flag. That's the Blue Star. Gold Star is pretty much the same except for one very, very important issue. The Gold Star family is a modern reference that comes from the service flag. These flags and banners were flown by families during World War I, World War II, and every war since. According to 2019 Military Times, since 9/11, more than 16,000 troops have died in non-combat circumstances, and more than 7,000 died in the Iraq and Afghanistan wars alone. The Gold Star represents families that have lost a loved one who has perished in time of war or hostilities against this country. At this time, I'd like to ask the VF, thank you, the Legion's commander, come to this flag, and I'd like Sergeant Major to come to the other flag, please. These flags that they will be unveiling here very shortly will be displayed in our rotunda in City Hall for everyone to see that enters. We must not forget those that have gone before us so that we have the rights that we serve today. Gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, the Blue Star and the Gold Star. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Thank the board for approving this project. Most of all, thank all those who have served, those who are serving, and those who have perished for all of us. As Alderman Young said, these will be permanently displayed out in the lobby of City Hall. Please come by, visit, and bring your friends to show them how Horn Lake supports our men and women in service and their families and their loved ones. At this time, number 4, we'll go to A, Chief Pullen. Good evening, Chief.
Good evening, Mayor. Thank you, Board. Thank you, Mayor. The mission statement at the police department is selfless service through wisdom, distinction, and compassion. Employees of the department live out this statement 24 hours a day, and they put others before themselves. They're wise in their decision-making, carry themselves with distinction, and put themselves in the shoes of the people who they are dealing with. Whether it's dispatchers on the phone, taking calls, officers, detectives dealing with people on the street, they're always putting others before themselves. So on December 28th, the city had experienced a torrential downpour. Captain Strouser realized as the rain did not let up that he would need assistance from more officers. So he reached out to officers off duty, and within no time, he had much help. And that's coming from Captain Strouser. That's not me as the police chief, Assistant Chief Hoyer, Major Swan. That's Captain Strouser requesting help. So within no time, he had more help. Again, selfless service. Please stand if you were working during those floods. So what I want you to understand is that these people, some of them had already worked their 12-hour shift. This is Saturday evening. They're ready to go home and be with their families. Some of them were coming in to prepare for their 12-hour shift. As they're on their way in, they realize what's going on, and they immediately just start helping out where they need to go. Some of them came in away from their families to be here for the city and each other. Again, selfless service. On that same night, Officer Winters and Officer Mabry were posted at Goodman and 51, and the drainage ditches on either side of that road, once they get flooded, that's swift-moving water. And the ditch had flooded. It's moving across Highway 51. Officer Mabry is at 51 and Goodman. And if I had the MDOT video, I'd show you, he keys up on his radio and says that he sees a vehicle coming off of Dancy Boulevard, trying to maneuver northbound onto Highway 51. And he enters that video. You see his fluorescent yellow jacket with no hesitation whatsoever. He is running towards that car. He sees it's being swept off the road. So he, of course, over the radio says, "What's going on?" Soon after that, you see Officer Winters' fluorescent yellow jacket also running towards that car. No hesitation whatsoever. So that's what these people do. So they get to the ditch, hear a female yelling for help as the vehicle is completely swept off of the road. It's in the ditch. And here's a female yelling for help and that she can't swim, referring to a passenger that was in that car. These officers have no idea what they're running into, but they go. Officer Winters removes his vest, gets in the water. Officer Mabry reaches down. One supports the bottom half, one supports the top half, and pulls that passenger out of that water. We are not trained in swiftwater rescue. They later learned that the vehicle and passenger had already been swept through the culvert, and she's clinging for dear life. These officers literally save her. What they did that night takes courage and bravery. I'm humbled to work alongside these types of people, and more than anything, I'm very humbled to be their police chief. Officer Winters and Mabry were both unanimously voted to receive the Department Life Saving Award for their efforts in putting the life of another before their own. Please come forward. So I can say with 100% certainty that there was a higher being watching after these two officers and those two passengers that night. Regardless of what God you pray to, I would certainly say that good Lord had a hand in that. So thank you both very much. I sincerely appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Thank you two officers especially, but thank each and every one of you for providing protection to the citizens of Horn Lake. If you are a veteran, there's an American Legion in town, there's VFW in DeSoto County. Please support these veterans organizations. Letter B, Ms. Wendy Smith.
She is not present.
Okay. Number 5, nothing on planning, is it, Mr. Andrew?
That's correct.
All right, so you had a nice, easy evening. All right, number 6, Alderman Geis, you brought this up once before about trying to find solutions to our speeders here in Horn Lake with speed humps and other traffic calming devices. And you provided us a while ago with some material. If you don't mind going over it with the audience, would appreciate it, sir.
Yes, sir, Mayor. I don't know about the other aldermen here and the mayor, but I'm pretty sure it's the same. I get requests all the time from citizens wanting speed bumps or other traffic control devices because we have a continuing issue with speeders in neighborhoods and other areas. So in the past, it's been kind of hard to get approval for those because there's often a concern that if we approve one, we'll have to approve 100 of them and things like that. So what this procedure does is give citizens the ability to petition the board for traffic control devices. Say you have a section of street where there's a lot of speeders, the community in that area would have to get a petition together with 75% of the residents in that affected area saying that they are for a speed hump or signs or whatever. Then they provide that to the mayor. The mayor assigns it to the affected department heads. We would do a traffic study in the area using our equipment, and there's certain criteria for it to proceed. There would have to be a certain condition met for speed and another condition for volume of the traffic. So if we would do a study for a 24-hour period and see if at least 40% of the vehicles are exceeding the posted speed limit by 5 miles per hour or more, and that the volume in a 24-hour period exceeded at least 50 vehicles. If those two criteria are met, then it could proceed to the board for consideration. There's also some other variances in here that we can take into effect, like if there's been 3 wrecks in a year at a certain section of road, or if there's issues in school zones and the area around schools, and there's also an excessive speed variance that it doesn't have to be 40% if that you can override the volume criteria if 40% of the vehicles are exceeding the speed limit by at least 10 miles an hour. So what this basically does is gives neighborhoods and communities the ability to get together with their neighbors, determine that they want something done, and then get those signatures and present it to us for consideration. And then if we do approve it, then it goes on a list, and when we have the funding, then we proceed with whatever Public Works and the public safety officials think is the appropriate device in that area. So that's basically it.
Very thorough. Thank you, sir. Does anyone on the board have any questions or comments for Alderman Geis?
Mayor.
Alderman Young.
It's pretty detailed. I like it. I do like the program. I do think we need the speed bumps or humps or whatever you want to call them. Humps or bumps or slow down devices, whatever we call them. But you made an interesting comment there about the hundreds of requests we would get if we put in. Is this going to slow down 100 requests?
I think it will, because if people are serious about it, they'll get out there and get their signatures and do all that, okay, as opposed to just someone calling one of us and say, I want a speed bump. You know, Because how do we know everybody else in that area wants one? It could just be one citizen requesting something and the others don't. You know, we've encountered stuff like this before with on-street parking and things like that, where your community's divided on what they want done in there. And that, so this puts some of it back on the citizens in that area to actually do the legwork and then come back to us with that. So I think it will, if they're serious, they'll get it done. If they aren't serious, they aren't gonna go through that process to get it. So is my hope, you know, you always,
Yeah, you don't know. I understand, we don't know.
yeah.
Have we identified where the cost for doing this is gonna come from? Where's the money coming from? We got a budget coming up next year that's, due to bad finances, we're gonna have a real tough time figuring this out. Do we know where the money's coming? Have we looked at that?
We, in addition to our street maintenance money through the not hotel motel money, but the internet sales tax, we do have a separate fund for road repairs and other stuff that's built into the budget every year. But like I put in here, it goes on a list for when we do have the money. So just because we approve it, if we don't have the money there in the fund with Public Works to get it done, then it goes on a waiting list until we do. So if we've had a bunch of little potholes we filled and all that, and that fund is gone, then it waits until there is funding there to do it.
All right, so we're gonna, that fund's normally used for potholes and stuff like that. So the potholes are gonna go secondary to the speed humps, or the speed humps gonna go secondary to the potholes?
I would
Or
think
do we know?
I would think speed humps would go secondary to potholes.
Okay.
It would be my, but of course, that would be up to the board to decide what they want to do.
I'm just trying to get a full
Oh,
picture
yes.
because, you know, it's just a lot of
Yes,
pomp and circumstance. I'm just seeing where the money, and you changed your direction on the potholes from the Kentwood, and now you're proposing. The lady sat here from Kentwood to come up here with her child that worked at St. Jude, and you voted against that. Kentwood, speed bumps. You wanted speed bumps on Kentwood. You voted against it, but you had them in Ward 1 in a Cove where you voted for it.
As a matter of fact, I voted for the speed bumps there
Up there. And
on Kentwood.
no, you didn't. You voted.
Yeah, I voted, I
Okay.
wanted speed bumps there.
Well, that's not what I saw on TV, but anyway, I don't understand why all of a sudden it's changed direction. That's okay, thank you.
I look on this as a solution to a problem that this board faces and what future boards may face. We get a lot of requests, like you say, and it gets confusing and everything. But this, the citizens will have to come up here and show the need for the speed calming devices, whatever they may be. It could be potholes, I guess, we could leave those. But it gets the citizens involved. And like Alderman Guy said, it's not just one citizen coming up here saying, we need it. What this requires is the people on that street to say, this is what we need. And then they present that petition to the board. The board studies it, asks the fire department and the police department, are they comfortable with that? And then proceed about whether to install them or not, depending on whether the money's there. Now, that's my understanding of it. Is that correct, Alderman Guys?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor,
Alderman Young.
you know, he may be right that he didn't vote against the potholes. Now I'm thinking, but he did say let's not, or the speed bump, let's don't put speed bumps in, let's put stop signs in, if I remember correctly. That was instead of the speed bumps. I believe that's what they'll find because they're diligently looking over there. So I figured that's probably what they'll find.
All right. All right. Now, Mr. Billy, does this need to be, does this have to be posted in the paper if the board adopts this?
It does not, Mr. Mayor. It'll just be a policy of the board. It won't be an ordinance.
It won't be an ordinance. Alderman Klein.
I think this is excellent that we're coming up with a process for the community. But I have a question. When you turn your 75% of residents in the list, How do you verify those people? I mean, when we turn it in, we're gonna have to verify that they are true residents for that neighborhood, I would think. So what would be the process in verifying them?
The,
If I may, we could get the police or Public Works to go by there and see
I
if
mean,
those
it's-
people actually live there.
I mean, that's a lot of houses to be, you know, I just didn't know if there's something available to where we can check, you know, a government, you know, thing that
Well, there is.
that shows.
There is.
And that's be the way to check it, but I
It
just
says
want to make sure
property
that
owner,
that
but it might
process
be-
is in place, you know.
But it might be a property owner, but they've rented it out. We would have to come up with a procedure. It would take time.
Yeah.
It's not like we're gonna run out and put these all over the city, because it's gonna take time. I'm sorry, Alderman Geis, you go ahead and respond to him.
you know, maybe it's just, it's naive of me, but I don't know if, I just trust my citizens in my ward not to be presenting me a fake petition for a speed bump. I have a little more faith in them than that, but just like a petition, if you're running independent for office, you get a petition of signatures, there has to be an address, you verify it. It's not much of an issue. You pull it up on GIS, there's tax records, and you just match it up. You know, and this isn't, it's in here that this isn't for big, long streets, you know, we aren't talking 2-lane or Goodman or Horn Lake Road or something like this. This is for smaller streets and areas in through neighborhoods and all that, so.
So it could be for just a specific segment of a street.
Yes, sir. A good example is the one that I presented back a month or two ago. It's a small section of road between Holly Grove and 301 where we built Baker's Acres, and cars are hitting that and speeding through there. There's no stop signs along the way and all that, so it basically impacts that one section of street. You know, I live in a connecting subdivision, but you know, I have other routes I can go out if I don't want to drive across that. But that's just the way I considered it. You know, they present it and we look at it and then proceed from there. And with this, it's not just speed humps. The petition that's attached to the back or the application is for traffic calming devices. That can be signs. The one over by the school there, the decision was made that putting some stop signs in there first would fix that issue. So if the board or Public Works thinks, well, I think stop signs, rumble strips, whatever would work, then that's the way we proceed. It doesn't necessarily have to be a speed hump or whatever. So it's just at the discretion of the Public Works people on what they think is the best thing, and the engineer, whoever.
Anybody, Alderman Young?
Just to make sure everybody's completely clear, because there's a lot of misdirection here. I'm not against the speed humps or the devices or any of that. I'm all in on it. I think it's a good program. I just don't think we needed another something stuck in here, another regulation, another ordinance, another this or that and the other that we can't fund. We don't even know what the cost of this is going to be. We don't know. There's a lot of circumstance going on here, a lot of what ifs. I think that we really need to hone it down a lot before the board even considers it, because we're fixing to leave one bad decision and we're looking here at another one that's not going to be able to be funded. I understand it's going to take time, and you know, just because they put in a thing that they're not going to do it tomorrow, I understand all that. I got all that, okay? But as you saw right here, just in this agenda, we spent more money than we thought we had to spend. There is not a money tree out here. We can't go around spending money like a bunch of drunken sailors. Somewhere we have got to be accountable and considerate and think, well, you know, maybe, yeah, we do need speed bumps. What's the cheapest way we can do it? Never heard that. Never heard that. All I heard is spend. Yes, we do need speed bumps. Yes, we do. I have them flying up and down around. I have people coming through my cove. I would almost guess you that we could clock at 35 and 40 miles an hour. Yeah, I would love to. Either that or a 155 howitzer, one or the other. But it's not that I'm against the speed bumps. It's not that I'm against the policy. I think it's a great program. I just think we need to go a little deeper. We don't just need to say, yep, here we go. Where is the money? Right now, if you're looking at next year's budget, it ain't pretty. It ain't pretty. So that's where I'm at. I'm always on the money side. That's what I always sit up here and talk about. Where's the money? And that's why I voted against other things. And if we're going to do this, we need to really be concerned that where our citizens are putting their tax money, we got to be better stewards at that. That's all I'm saying.
Did I understand you correctly, Alderman, that if the residents on the street, 75% of them petitioned it and brought it before the board, and even if the board approved it, that doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna be done quickly. It might have to wait till the funds are available. There might be several months, maybe even a year. Yes, sir. Because Alderman Young does have a good point about the money. But if I understood you correctly, that just because the board wants to do it, they're not obligated to do it right there.
Yes, sir. Under approval procedure on the last page, it says, if approved by the board, the Public Works Director will determine the traffic calming devices and locations that will best meet the needs of the request and will implement their installation. Approved street segments will then be placed on a list for installation. The traffic calming devices will be installed as funding is available. It's pretty much in there.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments? Alderman Johnson.
Alderman Geis, you mentioned, or it says here, speed devices. It doesn't necessarily mean a speed hump. It could mean stop signs. Mr. Box, do we have stop signs on hand? And how much do they cost?
Yes, ma'am, we do have stop signs on hand. Accurate cost, I couldn't give it to you right. I don't have the list right here in front of me, but they're not incredibly expensive. Stop signs aren't.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else? Alderman Klein.
Yeah, and Chief gave us some paper, a report on, I guess, some speed signs. Is this some alternative traffic devices that
Yes,
we
sir.
could look
So
at?
I had gotten a quote I think this is a good start. If this is the route that we take, though, we would need something like this, like the quote that I had put in front of you, just to gather accurate data as far as volume and speeds, because right now we have the speed trailer over on Union Avenue, and if you go down Union, I mean, you're not going to get accurate data from that. So that's what we would use right now. If we were to go this route, we would need to purchase something like this radar sign that I had put in front of you.
Alderman Boston.
Yeah, this question is for Jim. I know we talked about grants. Would there be a grant available that we could apply for this being a safety, something for the city and for the citizens?
I mean, there potentially could be. We've had, we met with the Delta group, and they're keeping their eyes open. Actually, he emailed me something a week ago that I passed on, but they're looking at different grants, and I mean, there could be some safety or homeland security or something like that. Miss Jenny's out there smiling. That would provide some funds for safety, but potentially, because they do, in years past, they've done radar devices and stuff like that. I don't know if this is considered like a radar, because it does catch the speed and then post it. So there's a potential through the Delta group that we've kind of been talking to.
Okay. I believe Alderman Geis gave us all the information that we needed here, and got a full understanding here. If there's no other questions about it and there's a possibility of grant, I'd like to make a motion to go ahead and approve the policy as presented to us this evening.
Did you have something?
Yeah, I just had I kind of reviewed this and marked it up a little bit today. Before we take action on it, if a majority of the board's in favor of this policy, I would like to have the opportunity to maybe make a few minor revisions, send that to you maybe and get your okay on it, and then put it on the agenda for the next board meeting for adoption.
Do you wish to withdraw your motion, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Billy.
Thank you, Mr. Alderman Bostic. Mr. Campbell, you noticed a while ago when Mr. Jim said something about grants, he grinned at Ms. Price over here. She is with the police department. If you notice on your agenda how many grants are going to the police department, thank you, Ms. Jenny. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Mayor.
We love you.
Alderman Bledsoe.
What he was relating to, we had a lady come in and she was worried about Kentwood and they were speeding. We put stop signs up, and as far as I know right now, it's stopped the speeding as much as possible. And we have another place in my ward that we put stop signs up because the people didn't want speed bumps at the time. So we put stop signs up, and I think that solved that problem. But you do have people run stop signs and do spin wheels when they leave the stop sign. So it just depends what the people want, and if we have the money. People in my ward, they wanted a stop sign. The people speeding, they want stop signs, but it slowed everybody down, and you can look both ways. And there's a lot of kids down on Kentwood, which helped out, so that was my.
Yes, sir. Before Mr. Billy spends time on this, is the board interested in looking at this?
Certainly, yeah, I mean, I think it's a good program. We just need to tweak it.
All right, yes, sir. And Chief Pullen, I want to thank you for a very nice program and for recognizing those two, every one of them. Everybody knows when they step out in the morning, they're putting their line on the line for each and every one of them. But they certainly went a great deal above, fish somebody out of the water. Thank you for a nice program. All right. Citizens' remarks. Remember, please, these are 3-minute limit. Mr. House. Please. Hey.
Actually, 1876 Church Road. We've been trying to get y'all to help us clean up the property at, oh, wait a second. How about that? I'm lost. Wait a second, Alan, you're getting my time messed up here now. Anyway, y'all can hear me, I know.
It's a trick so you can't talk long.
Well, see, this is the only place I come to talk because all you got to do is sign the list and talk. My wife won't let me talk at home. So I don't mind signing the list. But anyway, we're at Leadham's house over here. We've been trying to get this cleaned up, trying to get everybody on board with this. They do have 2 dumpsters in the front yard, but that's all we've gotten done this month. So I just want to give y'all all an update and let you know where we're at with this, but I appreciate y'all's help.
Well, thank you, sir. And you know, and Ms. Silvers knows, this is a court case. And
Yeah.
you can't say anything else about it.
Okay, that's fine. But I just want to say thank y'all, and at least we're making some kind of headway over there. Code enforcement's coming by. We're getting a lot more animal controls. We're seeing more of the animal control cars, more police up and down the road, and that's what we need right there around that corner, right there around that house. So, like I said, thank y'all for listening. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Now, what if all those patrols are coming by your house? Is it because of you?
Could be. I don't know. I've got that still. We got a plan when you get out of being mayor. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Hoss. All right, Ms. Bridget.
5085 Cohay Drive.
Yes, ma'am.
Same property. The swimming pool is my concern. And I think that's part of the court case, I hope. Is there anything else we can be
I
doing?
cannot say anything
I know.
about
Is there anything else we can be doing? Because I started complaining to you and to the planning department back in September, and it seems like every time we come here, it's not gonna happen overnight. We're working on it.
That's
And-
the truth. That's the way it is.
But the problem's like 20 years old. So,
Well, we just got the code department set up separate in October, and we've been staffing it. They've been going by there according to Mr. Hoss.
they go by there.
And you got the dumpsters. I don't know if there's anything in them or not.
There's some,
I think that-
there's
they
some
was
stuff
going
in
to
'em.
court, so we have done, there's nothing else we can do right now. Alderman Bledsoe stays on me all the time about it, so.
Between the rats and the sick raccoons and the,
Yes, ma'am.
everything we're dealing with, you know, that's the concern. I feel like if any of you guys live next door to where we live, something would be done a lot faster.
Well, I wish you would
That's-
understand, ma'am, that we cannot discuss anything right now until it goes to court.
That's
It's
fine.
not that we don't sympathize with you or don't want to help you. It's just right now, it's at a standstill in the legal system. And that's all I can give you. I wish I could say something more specifically, but
Okay.
you keep asking me that, and that's all I can answer.
I was asking, is there anything else we could be doing?
I don't
Do
know
we go?
anything, ma'am.
Okay, no other
Does
department,
anybody
no
else
other,
have any suggestions?
does anybody have anything about a swimming pool that's being used as a trash dump with dead
Oh, my
animals in it?
gosh.
Have you contacted the Mississippi Department of Environmental Quality?
No, we've called the health department, we've called everybody. I will.
You know, having worked in government 32 years, unfortunately, there's nothing fast
Right,
about government
right.
unless they're gonna come and get you and write you a ticket. That's the way it always
That's
seems
right.
to work or whatever. But, once it's in the court system, like the mayor's saying,
Mm-hmm.
we can't, our officials here can't go over on the property and actually take enforcement action until we
Okay.
have a court order. So, you know, I can't speak to what occurred in the past.
Right.
But it is getting worked on now. And, if I can come up with any other state agencies or county agencies for you to call to also put on them, I will let Tommy know so you can start calling them.
I'll call that one, and that's all I'm asking. Is there anything else we could be doing? We do appreciate what's going on. Just hope something happens before I'm,
Well, I
Old
tell you
and-
what, the Department of Health, you think we're slow.
I mean, when it's a public health hazard, you would just think, you know.
Thumbs up. Thank you.
I know my time's.
All right, Mr. Grant. Good evening, Mr. Grant.
Good evening. Just thought I would give my 2 cents on the speed bumps.
Okay?
I hate them. As Alderman Young has pointed out, we're spending money, and I personally feel like that they create a safety hazard. Number one, our first responders can't get to where they need to go. Having done a ride around with our police department here, we experienced some pretty severe speed bumps in one of the apartment complexes across from City Hall here, and if you needed to get in there in a hurry, you're going to take the front end out of the vehicle. I've also had $1,200 worth of front bearing repair done to my truck, and I firmly believe that's because of all the speed bumps at the high school, because I spend a lot of time back and forth down there with kids in school and the band and so forth. I think a more cost-effective solution that could actually generate revenue is writing more tickets. You know, when you hit people's pocketbooks, they tend to pay attention. So don't make us all pay for what a handful of people are doing. Find the people that are breaking the law, write the tickets. I would even advocate that if you had a neighborhood that had a problem area with speeders, make it a double fine zone. You may have to buy some signs, but one ticket's going to pay for those signs. You're generating revenue, you're slowing people down, win-win.
Thank you, sir. All right, would you pass this over to Mr. Jim, please? Thank you, sir. All right, Mayor, Alderman correspondence. I want to thank each and every one of y'all for coming out on an extremely cold evening. I want to thank Chief Pullen and the officers, what they did for all of our first responders, And I want to thank the citizens down there that are worried about the house down there for keep bringing it up. All right. Make sure, let your hydrants drip, make sure your pets and animals are taken care of, make sure you are taken care of. All right, Alderman Young, you have anything, sir?
Just want to follow what you just said, Mayor. The other side of that is space heaters. Those things will set your house on fire like a candle. Be very, very careful with space heaters. Don't plug them into any kind of, I picked up all this from Chief Linville the other day at the Java Junction. Don't plug your space heaters into a extension cord. Thank you, sir. And keep all the fire. You know, it's extremely cold. Well, it's cold outside. It's not cold to me, but it's extremely cold outside to some people. Please be careful. Check on your loved ones. Give your animals a little bit extra bedding. And that's about all I got. Thank you, sir, for the time.
Alderman Dupree, you have anything, sir?
Yes, sir. We were in Jackson last week, and I spoke to a police chief down there from a small town just outside of Jackson. We got to talking, and he was asking about our police department. And I said, yeah, we got a new police chief. And he says, let me stop you right there. I know about her. I said, okay, how do you know about her? What she's doing in Horn Lake, people are watching how she is running this department. And she says, or he said that she has done great things and he wants to do more like Horn Lake is doing. That made me feel proud that we got a chief like Miss Pullen. That's awesome. That's all.
And I think everybody agrees with you. Alderman Young.
I was so afraid you was going to say her parole officer was down there.
Alderman Johnson, you have anything, ma'am?
No, sir.
All right. Alderman Bostic, you have anything?
I'd like to just say it's great to see my wife here tonight,
Yes.
and it's great to see Mr. Calvin Freeman back with us.
Is Mr. Calvin, there you are. Yes, sir.
It's great to be alderman for this great town that I serve.
Alderman Geis.
Yes, sir, I have one thing. The mayor requested that I do a update to the public and the board on the animal shelter. So I went down there Friday and with the part of the animal shelter committee, and we took some pictures, and I'm just going to show them real quick. So far, the shelter, so far the shelter is on schedule. I don't have a exact date yet, but even with the weather, we're actually a little bit ahead because they've been working inside. And also it's still under budget at the moment, and hopefully it'll stay that way. Thanks to Wes with Murphy and Sons and SPOA, we've actually got some upgrades in the shelter on things that we had bid lower on, and actually got the better quality stuff for the same price. That's on the animal shelter kennels. We went from stainless to, aluminum to stainless steel, and we have had a few other things. And of course, we've had one or two setbacks with the drive-in and now the Sherwin-Williams bidding low and then coming back and trying to milk us for about $50,000 more. But fortunately, we were able to circumvent that. But let me see. Yep. I sent them small, I think, to get them through. But can you go back to the first one? Okay, that's, unfortunately, like you said, they're small. That's the side of the building. The section in the middle is where your animal control vehicles would drive in, drop off animals to go into the medical area, and then into the animal area. There we go. Okay, and so that's the south side of the building right there. they didn't go through in order. That's from the inside of that Sallyport area. To the right, which you don't see, is where the animal control officers go in with the animals to be behind a gated area so they can't run off. To the left is the outdoor runs on some of the kennels from the dog area. That's another side of the building. That is the opposite side of where the Sallyport area is. There'll be a green area there and a sidewalk, and there's overhangs, so when the citizens are outside or the workers are outside, they aren't getting rained on or snowed on or whatever. That's just a picture down the hallway from the office area to the end of the building. And that's that is the actual puppy room. There'll be standing kennels in there where puppies and small dogs are stored, where they aren't near the larger dogs. That is the rear of the building with the more kenneling and stuff. You can see the way the roofing's built. There's going to be soundproofing in there, and at the top there's a completely different air system there, so it won't smell like the current shelter does. It'd actually be more enticing for people to actually come in there and actually look for a dog or a cat instead of trying to run out the door because it smells so bad in there. Yep. And there's down the middle is a separation wall, so the dogs can't see each other, which keeps down the barking and the kennel stress on the animals. That's another dog run area. And each one of those runs goes outside as well. And that's just the back of the building, and you can see the two wings to the left and right. They had it boarded up because of the inclement weather going in. And that's just one of the sides where you can see the outdoor kennel runs in the walk area. And that's just the other side as well. And that is the front of the building. That's where the office space is, the cat area, the medical area, and there's also a classroom in there that the public would be able to use as well for meetings and things like that if the city adopts that policy. And there's also an area where the cats can actually go out into the fresh air outside of the building. That's just another picture of the Sallyport area. I don't know if I put any inside ones in here or not. I should have sent those in a different format so you could scroll through them. So it's coming along pretty well. The trees have been cut down. They were out there Friday connecting the gas. So hopefully the electricity will be connected soon, and then they'll be able to start doing the floors and more work inside that requires some heat. And that's it.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Appreciate all of you who were on the committee for all your hard work to do to bring this first-class facility here to fruition. And it's sad we have so many dogs and cats and a few other animals that are strays or abandoned. If you can adopt one or foster one, please do. Or if you know someone needing a good animal, please do. I assure you, we're blessed with our animal control staff down here. They do a great, great job. You cannot believe what a hard job it is down there, cleaning up after that many animals every day, making sure they're fed, making sure they're healthy, in decent weather, whether they're exercised. They do a remarkable job, and certainly want to thank Ms. Sonia and Mr. Glenn and everybody down there at the animal shelter. Alderman Bledsoe, do you have anything, sir?
Oh, yes, sir. Where the cat room is, where that one day, I scored 2 or 3 touchdowns right there. That's the whole football field, and it's getting used. I'm so proud of everything that Horn Lake's doing. We got a great park over there, Latimer Lakes Park. Now we got a great animal shelter, and we're coming along slowly but surely. And I just want to tell everybody, please be careful out there because it is cold. Even though it seems like it's not as cold as what it is, you can get in trouble quick. Check on your neighbors, check on your pets and everything. I got a cat I'm keeping inside my garage. My wife said I can't let out, so that's fun too. And pray for everybody that's sick. My brother's got leukemia and he's not doing real good, so prayers are powerful. So if you will, give him a good prayer.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
that's all I got.
Yes, sir. When you scored those 2 touchdowns, was that leather helmets and no face guard? Was that? No helmet, okay.
Mayor, that was obvious. Look at that face.
In all seriousness, you know, if you can, fight in your heart to help find an animal a home, please do. Please do. Alderman Klein, you have anything, sir?
No, sir.
All right. Chief Pullen, do you have anything, ma'am?
No, sir, Mayor.
If any of you have any questions for any of our department heads, please just raise your hand. Mr. Box, do you have anything, sir?
I just would like to remind citizens that with this extremely cold weather that we have, to stream their water. It's very important to do that, or your cold and your hot water, to just low drip or stream your water. If you do have an emergency, to contact us. Our on-call after-hours number is 901-652-1308.
Could you repeat that for everyone, please, sir?
901, excuse me, 901-652-1308. If you don't have that number, you can always call dispatch. They can get a hold of us as well. But with the extreme temperatures, water will freeze up very quickly, hot or cold. Our biggest and the biggest days for us really in emergency response on water breaks will be with the thaw, which will be coming probably in later this week. And that's when you'll discover that you've had a frozen water pipe, because it will be coming out of your attic, or it will be coming out of your floors or your walls. So when you experience those, please do not hesitate to give us a call so we can get out there and get your water shut off as quickly as we can.
And thank you, sir, and all your staff, and of course, the police and the fire for all your work you did during the snow we had a little over a week ago.
You're welcome, sir.
I mean, by Friday evening, if people drove slowly, they could get where they wanted to go. It wasn't like that ice storm from last year. And MDOT really stepped up and helped us out, too. We want to thank the Mississippi Department of Transportation. Anyone have any questions? Alderman Dupree.
Mr. Box,
Yes, sir.
when we had that tremendous downpour along with the snow, your guys stepped up and stepped out, along with the police and fire. I publicly want to say thank you, all 3 of you and your departments. What you do for Horn Lake is just tremendous. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're welcome, sir.
Anyone else? Chief Limble, do you have anything, sir?
I don't really have anything other than everybody be extremely safe and make sure your smoke alarms work and space heaters. I guess you can't emphasize this enough, but mainly just if it looks dangerous, it probably is, disconnect it, don't use it. And cooking fires and space heaters still. I know we had one bad fire already this year and it was cooking, but we just need to, everybody be safe and try to take care and make sure their smoke alarm's working. We did make a call the other night. We found out they did have a small fire and they got it out real quick, electrical outlet, but they didn't have smoke detectors. So before the firemen left, they had installed 4 smoke detectors in the house before they left. If you need smoke detectors, if you contact the fire department, we will try to get out and get them put up. But we don't know, we can't do it. But if you know of an elderly person, handicapped, or a senior citizen that needs some help with it, we're more than welcome to help. Just got to call us. That's all.
Thank you, sir. Alderman Young. Oh, I'm sorry. Anyone? Mr. Drew, you have anything for the board, sir?
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Board. I don't have anything tonight, sir.
Mr. Vance, good evening, sir. You have anything? Alderman Klein.
Yeah, Mr. Vince, I know you had submitted the Phase 1 and Phase 2, and I think you turned it into the city to, I guess, to put on the website. I guess my question would be is who's supposed to be updating the website? Because if I'm not mistaken, Phase 1 and Phase 2 hadn't been put in. It showed on the website still it was October.
Is this when the link was down? I know
So-
Mr. Dan asked me about it, Mr. Dan Arata, and Mr. Daniel said, well, the link had collapsed or broke or whatever the computer lingo is, but he got it back up.
Right, and I think that was, the map was from October when we put it up, and then we had another update that broke the link, but we haven't gotten anything past the last map that's up.
All right, but you're, so the website's showing that it's still October 2024 instead of showing that you've.
Well, that's when we posted it. It's not gonna update like every week saying this is, because it's not changing. That's when it was last posted.
Yeah, just to clarify, that is year 2, contract 1 and 2. Yes. So that's the one we just awarded tonight, the second contract, and Falcon Construction Company is working on 1 now. So that's the latest map. I don't know about the date. That's just the date that map was created from.
Okay, so it does have phase 2 in there, that the 20-something streets marked on there? Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Daniel. Ms. Sonia, you have anything, ma'am?
We had the fundraiser at Texas Roadhouse yesterday. We've got a fundraiser coming up next Monday at Lucky Dog. It is a bingo fundraiser.
I beg your pardon?
It's a bingo fundraiser at Lucky Dog. Is this, can you hear me?
You talking about like the bingo games?
Yeah, bingo, you know.
Okay, but I was just, Lucky Dog is usually a club, so I would just,
It's like a restaurant and they have bands and it's over in Silo Square.
right? Well, is there any time?
I'm not sure of the time yet.
All right.
Because they didn't get me the flyer. They didn't get me the flyer yet, but it's supposed to be Monday evening.
Monday evening.
We currently have 109 dogs and about 45 cats I left the cat number on my desk. Most of them are inside. 94 are inside. And the ones that are outside are Huskies and Husky mixes, so they have the double coat.
There's 15 outside.
Yeah, there's 8 in that covered patio that's behind the cat house. And then there's, no, there's 7 there, and then there's 8 in the big backyard.
Any of them doubled up so they can kind of,
Outside?
yes,
Oh,
they can kind of get together and keep
Oh.
themselves warm?
no, they don't play well with others.
Okay,
Otherwise, they'd be inside doubled up.
okay.
Yeah, because everybody inside is doubled up. And I was looking over the revenue, and it's over 18,000 already this year.
The revenue,
Yeah, our revenue is over 18,000.
thank y'all so much for y'all's fundraising activities. It really, really helps offset the cost. If the vet bills are tremendous, the food bills are tremendous. Alderman Klein.
The 109 dogs that you're saying, that's what you have on site, or some of them fostered out?
No, we have about 25 in fosters.
25 out of that 109
No, in addition.
in addition? Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Well, y'all do a tremendous job. Thank you very much. Mr. Andrew, you have anything for the board?
No, sir, not tonight.
Anybody? Mr. Jim, do you have something for the, I didn't forget, Mr. Jim.
Yes, sir. I did place at your seat, it's a two-sided copy of some information from MML. Thank you. I also attended down at the Midwinter Conference with the mayor and Alderman Dupree and Alderman Young, and there were a lot of talk on the legislative issues. You know, the front page has the legislative issues that MML is going to be addressing, and a lot of them will affect us here in Horn Lake. You know, a lot have to do with either neglected properties, rental properties. They do have talked about some grant programs available. So you can kind of see those, and a lot discussion on infrastructure. The backside was House Bill 1 that is proposed. It has come out of committee in the House, but we heard a lot of talk that the Senate was going to put in their changes, but it does talk about, obviously, what's been talked about for a long time, and the elimination of the income tax was number one there over the next 10 years, but then how they will look at some revenue with grocery tax and gas tax to, I think, help alleviate some of that, and how it's going to be distributed to the city. But you can kind of look at that. Obviously, it's going to change. If you can take one because the Senate has not sent out anything. I also wanted to give you an updated financial sheet. The one was in your packet, but we did get a large, Joey Treadway delivered a rather large ad valorem tax, and it was 2.4 million. So that's split out in the top,
Just one sheet.
6 lines. It's just one sheet, sorry.
Thank you, sir.
So that top ad valorem line that I highlighted now has a little over 2 million in it. We budgeted to bring in 9.8 in ad valorem, so you see that one. I also wrote in the internet sales that Alderman Geis was talking about earlier, and that goes towards our the roads that we have up there. That fund helps fund our municipal street program. That amount did hit, but I didn't get it in the system because it will actually be recorded in our bank tonight, and we'll see it in the morning. But that first internet sales check that comes in January, you can see was almost 1.1 million. And we get another one of those in July. Again, I've mentioned we are at 100% of what we're going to get for those. Again, I'll emphasize that's all based on internet sales. So as long as those numbers will stay strong, as long as people order things online and buy things online, we'll see that internet sales funds come in from the state.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Jim? Please look over HB 1, House Bill 1. It is very complicated, and I don't know if we're going to come out ahead or not on that. Did you have anything, Mr. Billy? No. All right. All right. Let's see. We have nothing for executive session, so therefore, do I entertain a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Whoop, hold on.
Mayor,
Alderman Guys.
I noticed Dan and Daniel had their Olympics medals back there you might want to mention.
Y'all have your Olympic medals on? Oh, that is, now, this is for what, the tournament for? Bowling. Well, congratulations. They always represent us so well. If you watch the Olympics from, where was it, Florida a couple of years ago, Horn Lake led the Mississippi delegation in. It was led by those two gentlemen there, Mr. Dan and Mr. Daniel Arata. Thank y'all for what all y'all do to represent Horn Lake and represent us so well. All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We have a motion by Alderman Young. We have a second by Alderman Dupree. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Aye.
Alderman Klein.
Aye. Motion